Yo, what up, killer people? Mechanics, audio. Coons, Q, what up? Mechanics. You know this is long overdue, right? I took the red, never told you take the blue pill. Nowadays rappers just like Cisco from Drew Hill. MCs let that fly. Now youths are tripping for high. They lights all called syrup and alcohol mixing. Baths all sniffing, lighting themselves on fire. The game ain't in me no more like cut, not on the wire. Y'all frontin' like Brother Moose on, getting whooped like Slim Charles. I saw demons behind like second A on our snarls. Wanting me to compromise, to optimize their train talk brainwash. Been rhyming out the box, won't see me without the locks. Henry Hawks, Morris Ghostface, killer priest, walking with a swarm of bees. Here comes some borrowed star, real MCs, bringing drama to you wannabes. No Smith and Wesson, on beats, different lessons. It's truth, no discretion. We pulling energy from seven heavens. Audio mechanics leave an impression. Two Kushites carrying the rhyme, covered in art, no procession. Thunderclap, rap deafened. Wake you out your slumber, you're under. Audio mechanic legends, the answer, no questions. No statements or minds for containment and cancel concentration. It's long overdue. Time to wake up from your mental enslavement. Know thyself, y'all too fixated on the superhuman. Shut your trap, keep me out of your yacht, stupid. It ain't ironic, people only speak and spoke. You hear me in your third ear, blow. Probably not. After bomb smoke screams your hope, I see night vision, primary being wisdom. My musical genre is metaphysicalism. Dumb talkers, these codes are slick schoolery. Barracuda's teeth runs after me. I craft the jewelry through roads of narrowness. I'm traveling with the sun disk. I tap into the live music like it's for yours to sleep on. Primarily pledge allegiance to this true art form. My sword form, plant seeds, growing grassroots to slice craft. Instantly to slice it, even bites in half. It's all word, cookie cutter. My utensil is a sassy sandal. 10 times to skin the rat. Y'all snakes and ladders. Ain't no fighting being done. Only life climbing. I don't blast steel or black rock. More like study extra hard on more money and more problems. Like working overtime on a steady job. My cognitive thought will build me a palace of pure astral traveling, mighty masses. No monkey mind, chattering, blasted madness. I'm on my God lecture. Podium projected opium. The RPM verse is forward motion with no scientific notions. It's a God how we energize minds can't take us off a rock. We don't got time to hear what they talking about. It's the God how we energize minds can't take us off a rock. We don't got time to hear what they talking about. It's the God how we energize minds can't take us off a rock. We don't got time to hear what they talking about. It's the God how we energize minds can't take us off a rock. We don't got time to hear what they talking about. Know thyself. Y'all too fixated on the pixelated. Shut your trap, I'm not black and got the crystal swaying. And bees of Buddhist doofus, Tito rappers the goofiest. They love mics with no cords, so my lines are the nooses. Moorish master MC, when old blood's bluest. Spit for roads with love, but I'm not the cupid. Unwind listeners' mind like a wire hanger. Unclogging newer pathways, these mic gang bangers. Spit filth and garbage, got most deals by bending over. Act straight, little whoever and game over. Magna Carta lovers don't know about the feudal barons. Probably hate me after this, approaching me with cannons, but won't lash out at the ones that make your daughters get the ass out. A rapper's got your son's gene sight till they pass out. Brainwashing the youths with hypnotical moves. Beats to break spirits when they hear it blasting in coops. Thinking to get free education, go join troops, study a trade. Don't try to get paid playing hoops. Get minds focused, youth act loose and hopeless. Pulling out gats on transits as the cameras focus. Their role models are athletes and dumb rapper egos. Selling out hip-hop, I see through one eye like peepholes. With two eyes open, scoping scenes, panoramic, know your surroundings. Don't listen to rappers' clowning habits. Probably get you locked up or shot up in the stairwell, or blasting on the church steps, telling your fam farewell. It's God Hop, we educate minds on the conscious route. I don't listen to rappers and don't care what they talking about. It's God Hop, we energize minds, can't take us off a route. We don't got time to hear what they talking about. It's the God Hop, we energize minds, can't take us off a route. We don't got time to hear what they talking about. It's the God Hop, we energize minds, can't take us off a route. Cause we don't got time to hear what they talking about. It's the God Hop, we energize minds, can't take us off a route. We don't got time to hear what they talking about.
And this is fantasy. And this is fantasy. And this is fantasy. And this is fantasy.
Audio mechanics. 1 2 1 2. Yeah. Check it. Too many of today's rappers from gold have sold out. Punks had to take the deals, no soul, no holdout. I can hear it in your content, clear like crystal. For deals, these rappers like bullets and some pistols. Framing you with sex tapes, put Molly's and sister drink. Couldn't hit it if you sober, you ex-high school loner. You loser, punk screwer, please out of here. Memory locks died, drag you by a truck out of here. Wearing the white hoods to make it look good. Or throw on a badge and drive around the road the hood. Where the gunmen be at, that know where their moms live. He won't let you sell out, then hide your head, you rapping ostrich. Pulling up your skirts when you're coming out the closets. Filling the hole, I got the dirt and words from the prophets. Whack rappers, hit officers. When we catch novices violating the wrong oath of offices. And I know that they're giving polishes the sausages, you punks. I get flooded and clouded with everything that they tell me. And when I see them in person, they face to look like they got it. And I don't need them to believe it. And like Jesus said, Jesus is true. That's what they be moving like Judas is on some treason with my nervous like an embassy. And the flavors is seasoning. I don't think that I'm seeing it. And these proper reasoning. Slippery, slippery snakes are sharply out of trick of them. And everything I do, I don't interrupt when I'm speaking gems. All of us the shooting and beating this police at the time. Drugging the rap junkie with dope and jackets to raise the dead world. Why is no Chris out so messy that you're really guessing where he has your stresses? You guessing everything from here on, you shall be the best. There's no excuses for why losing they on the schedule with that. Don't give me the speed, don't give me the seat, don't give me the street. Cause when I speak, you already know what this gon' be. This from my peeps, the beam, living with me in oasis of dreams. Stacks of money don't grow on trees. Lessons crucial to one old team. System traveling's gon' get deep. Need food, clothes, shelter, and feed. I can't forget about the weaponry. University won't increase. Entrepreneur for every single penny. Selling dope in the way gon' be. Get that dough to the beat tax free. Killing somebody in the family. Child, mommy, or daddy. Slowly, man, you already know this shit the ungodly. Gospel inoculation. Genocide, killing your own family. Trailed by death and his cousin sleep. Growing up in the MALV. in the Star City, with a sword of judgment residing in the hand of the Elohim. Yeah. Yo, right. These niggas is hardly godly. Peace to the gods like I'm Gandhi. Oddly, motherfuckers think they're hot G, but honestly, they're not me. I still ride alone cause I swing like I'm Rocky. Rehearse the verse and remember like November on them motherfucking poppies. But what about my Lebanese peeps when the bomb drops? See, history was never meant to be to see my people suffering in slavery. Jamaica back to Beirut to Africa. Feel the wind pumping master cracking ya. And when I rap at ya, your heart skips a beat like I'm attacking ya. My bars got a story worse than Attica. Spectacular vernacular. Knock you off the map with just a smack. Knock you off the map with just a smack. Yo, I wake up to morning mist flowing through trees. After calisthenics on the balcony, I'm embraced by a breeze. But when we hit the streets, it's like I entered the matrix. And it's my people treating me like I walked off a spaceship. Cause I tell them they didn't come here on a slave ship. And it's not the sofa white man. Blacks are the real racists and the real devil with the facelift. World star hip hop took BETBS to another level. Face it. Playing itself cause y'all didn't listen to J. Root. For breakfast, they drinking coke and eating Babe Ruth. Showing butt cheeks. Nigga fast, pull up your pants and stop dragging your feet, prepping for concentration camps. Growing up in Flemo, that was like training. Many failed and never made it. Taste of the streets, couldn't drop, but craved it. I stuck to the basics. So my life I saved it. Seeing messages and city mystics is how I made it. This is the path of the way of the warriors. These are some of the things that we're facing. This is the math of science of rap. We're calling it the culture, the matrix. This is the path of the way of the warriors. These are some of the things that we're facing. This is the math and the science of rap. We're calling it the culture, the matrix. Revolution, revolution, soldier with clip and magazine. Reps, wands, bishops, kings, and queens. Dark nights and holy thieves. So all we freedom of tasty greens. Faster riot squad, the ATF, the DEA on NBC. Or CNN, CB24, C3PO, erotica wars, conflict, dominant chats of Jews among swine before. Commodity, dignity, loyalty, hard to find. Every man is out for himself in the Brooklyn prison. Numbers and gang numbers climb. Many numerous cities with white collar crimes of genocide and what happened to street codes. Still lawyers, liar, judges are biased. The Privacy Act is breached. Hackers can't hack whether or not if the so-called genetically modified food we eat. Microchips, biochips, farm-bred fish and chips with Dorito chips on the satellite dish. You watch another week of black and strangers fight at all yours. Dumb smartphones and meters, camera severe, capture a cylinder through recognition of facial features. Mad scientists are delineating human genome. This clone, this evolution on the petri dish. Now, bro, I don't think so. How much you think it'll cost for eyes of the heart and ears of the wolf? Free as the radioactive gestures from Japan, they get in your skull. Stories of ancient true written by frauds, really rich business. My angels gonna play the harp, and the Nephilims ain't freeing. Chemtrails of golden form and pioneer plans are fluoridated. We was just wondering if God's will be done to save us. The path of the way of the world, these are some of the things that we're facing. This is the math and science of rap. We're calling it the code to the matrix. This is the math and the way of the world these days. Some of the things that we're facing. This is the math and the science of rap. We're calling it the code to the matrix. Can't run into a friend with no escape unless it's death. Higher beings call it life, won't stay attached to what is left. Won't let go, return to learn again, cause most don't learn that death. Missing out on life, caught up, tangled in a world wide web. Mouse will start on what will get you higher. Modified genetic food, got you wired, never tired, working stress shifts. That's half a day, but good got younger, pass away. And brand new things in awful ways. Can't forget the brand new shades. What with wealth and checks, fridge empty, kingdom with fuel by hips, cool whips, slave master, cool grips, brave laughter, cruise ships, sleeping, who's this, what's this, sand breast, dying whenever they protest, people pets, cheaper threats, boys twerking, girls erect, looking for some full effects, child neglecting minds inject, thoughts and patterns, saved inside the mental cavern, shattered dreams, battered screams, splattered brains, ultra key from riot teams. This is the math and the way of the world these days. Some of the things that we're facing. This is the math and science of rap. We're calling it the code to the matrix. This is the math and the way of the world these days. Some of the things that we're facing. This is the math and the science of rap. We're calling it the code to the matrix.
Islam Wars, peace and love. Say we're gonna hit them up one more time because they didn't get enough last night. You already know how it goes. But today we're gonna sort of be all over the place. But there's a few that need to get it today because they just need to get it. So if you've seen the video that we uploaded earlier today, with the Grand Sheikh Sanders L dealing with the Hebrews. So we wanted to go over that again as the segue to put out some more information with regard to another school of thought that likes to pretend that they're a nation of something else other than Moors, when the reality is we know that they're Moors. They can play around all they want to play around. And we know that they're going to keep playing around. But we already know what's up. And the whole purpose is, one, to Hulk smash these people with their BS. And two, Hulk smash them so good so other people passing by could see their bloody husk and don't want to be like these dumbasses. They'll see them Hulk smashed and wake up quick fast. Because it's inevitable that once the people hear the truth, after hearing falsehood for so long, they'll get down with the truth. It's just what it is. That's how all the people who know that they're Moors came to being Moors. They were following some BS before. They went and studied on their own. They didn't just listen to some guy with a long cloak or some guy with a special color hat or something like that and then follow him and think they saved themselves. Went and did research on their own. And what they found out was so much stuff that their own whoever's didn't tell them that might as well get down on some nationality and birthrights. Stop playing. Islam Moor. Islam. You got any early thoughts before we kick off?
Nah, just Islam to the Moors in the chat, you know. And nationality is the order of the day. You already know.
Islam.
Without it, you're stateless.
Simple. Simply put.
All is well.
You all right?
Yes, sir. How about yourself?
What you on, kinfolk?
No, what you on, kinfolk?
I'm about the God of heaven and earth.
No, what you doing is Off in here? Mm-hmm. Spitting hard, bro. So what you spit? Spitting hard, bro. Spitting love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Let me see what you got. Off in here, my God ain't mad, bro. Off in there, God mad. Yeah.
So we'll just elaborate there. The Moor told these Hebrews, in your Bible, God's mad. In mine, there's no mad God there. In their Bible, in their holy book, in their scriptures, when you scroll through those pages, whether you're talking about Torah, whether you're talking about Quran, whether you're talking about Bible, Christian, Pentecostal, Methodist, whatever, New Testament, Old Testament, Maccabees, book of whoever, God has an attitude. God's jealous. God's always mad at somebody, fire and brimstoning somebody. It pretty much seems like this God is the devil, because all these people have is a God that's about destruction and pay people back because they did stuff and all. But when we go to our holy book, we realize that the God of our ancestors, he wasn't jealous. How would he be jealous? He knows everything. What's he jealous about? If he's omnipotent and omnipresent, and he could see everything and know everything, why is he going to be jealous if he knew that you're going to do the madness that you thought you're going to get away with because you thought God has eyes that don't see and you could hide behind whatever and not get caught? First point to realize, why would our God be jealous if Noble Drew Ali came and told us that our religion, Islam, means peace? If the religion has something to do with the God and the religion means peace, then more than likely our God's a peaceful God. Our creator is a peaceful creator. And as soon as you start hearing people with their gods and they're trying to make you fear their God and all that stuff based on some scary horror movie, whatever, run from these people. Because your God's not supposed to be a punk scared of what humans are doing. What kind of God is that? What kind of God's that? If God's going to do it, he's just going to do it. You're not going to scare you first. So first thing, these Hebrews straighten up? Nah. They kept going with their angry, jealous God. Kept on with their angry, jealous God, instead of getting down with the God of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Okay. Off in here, we know that we got to. Who is we? As a people. What people? People. What people? In your skin, in your flesh. So you saying everybody the same? Man. Flesh man. So everybody the same? Flesh man. So all flesh is the same? This is not going to be no wrestle, no art. I'm questioning you. I'm asking you where you at. I'm asking where you at, bro. I'm here to talk about the God of Israel. I'm right here to tell you that God is within you, bro.
We're going to Israel.
Islam, boy, go ahead.
See, that's the thing. You just let him talk. He's here to talk about the God of Israel. We'll go to Israel. Go to Israel that was invented in 1948. Go there. Go there, because that place is modern. That whole concept of the Israeli state or land is a modern concept. That's not ancient. That's not ancient at all. At all. 1948, when they stole Palestine's land. the God of Israel. The God of Israel. That's and all you got to do is look the word up. All you had to do, okay, and that's the other thing. He's sitting here, like we said, he's talking about the God of Israel. All right, conversation over. We talking about nationality and birthright. You're sitting here just yelling about something you don't even know nothing about in that book.
Nothing about.
That they.
Go ahead, Moor.
Okay. In that book that they always regurgitating, they regurgitating what fits them and what fits them to someone who doesn't use dictionaries, to someone who has a dogma state of mind. You know, they're going to get them riled up because we know what words, once you know what words mean, we know that they're speaking in color. The way they're speaking is colored. When you speak, because even when you say Israel or Yisrael or whatever, you still, it's just, you're talking about the God of Israel. You just said the God of myself, and doesn't even know it because he doesn't know what words mean. You know, he's saying something in some book, like the God of Israel can be one specific, like in that book, it tells them itself. It says, we are, let us make man in our image. So when he says God, like he's talking about the God of Israel, even in their book that he's reading out of, it says that there's many gods. And let us make man in our image. So like, it's not just no God of Israel. That's fraud, man. They read their own stuff wrong. They read their own stuff wrong. Their own stuff wrong. And I mean, I can go, because he's going to start reading out of that book. But I got a couple of things for it. I'll say this one. Okay, in their book, the Bible, it's the Old Testament and New Testament. But when you go look up the word testi and menti, testamenti, it's old body, new mind. Testi is body, menti is mind. Old body, new mind. Say it right in their book. All you have to do is look up the word. Old body, new mind. Nothing to do with some stuff in the sky and some cursed people. None of that. None of that. All you gotta do is look the words up.
And remember that Noble Ali told the Moors that this is divine and national. This is higher self and lower self. This is soul and this is body. This is testament. And again, in their own stuff. And they're not going to go with what Moors say. So let's see if they'll go with what Hebrews say. In the shadows of Georgia State University campus and the buzzing connector, Auburn Avenue, is a quiet street on a Tuesday morning. As I walk into Modern Tribe, a fluffy pup named Sammy greets me with the shop owner, Jenny Rivlin Roberts. Minutes later, enters 50-year-old Norvin Bay Israel, advocate and student of Judaism with a backpack full of books. Israel's face is soft and friendly. We make small talk about his job at the Marriott Marquis and the sweet Auburn neighborhood in which he lives. Modern Tribe, a one-stop shop for all things hip and Jewish, is in the center of this historically Black neighborhood. Robert's online business experienced a boom during Thanksgiving in fall of 2013. She could no longer house her staff and inventory in her Candler Park home. That growth led to Modern Tribe's first pop-up shop in Inman Park on the Beltline. After a short stint back home, Robert set up the retail shop in Sweet Auburn a year ago. The three of us settle in. Israel is wearing a zitzit, an Ethiopian Lion of Judah pin on his black vest, a crisp white shirt, and black pants. He is professional and friendly with a wide smile. Some would describe Israel as black or African American. He prefers Moorish, meaning that his people are from Africa and are descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. Israel recalls first meeting Roberts. He was eating at Mango's Caribbean restaurant across the street from Modern Tribe. He and his friend recognized Hebrew on the sign. I came into the store and told Jenny, I'm Jewish. We started talking and turned out that he knows more Hebrew than I do, Robert said. Norvin comes from a different perspective. I don't study gematria, Jewish numerology, but he is very passionate about it. I am learning a lot. He has motivated me to read about the diversity of Jewish people. Roberts hired Israel as a summer intern. Through this unlikely friendship, they debate, discuss, and read together about lesser-known Jewish populations, such as Ethiopian and Moroccan Jews. This dialogue has led to Modern Tribe Festival that Roberts describes as righteous. It's the 5th event at Modern Tribe, and Roberts said the idea was sparked by Israel's dedication. This is his passion. We don't always agree. Norvin says everybody's Jewish, but I don't believe that's true. It can't be that all people are Jewish. To explore the concept of Judaism and race, Modern Tribe is hosting an afternoon of exploration called 12 Tribes, celebrating Jews of all colors. The event features Jewish artist Lynette Joel, communal art creation by Interact Art Museum of Atlanta, music by Prodezra Beats, a Black Orthodox hip-hop artist from Savannah, and learning with Israel and Rabbi Ephraim Davidson. Israel will present the lore of the 12 tribes and their ancient association with constellations, the Hebrew calendar, and vocations. There is a lot to Judaism that people don't know, Robert said. There is a lot of African American and African dark-skinned people that have Jewish roots and don't know it. If you're interested in Judaism and want to learn about your roots, come in. Welcome. We encourage studying. It is good for Jews. What makes Israel an expert on the 12 tribes? His passion and drive to read cannot be denied. That heavy backpack contains books on Rastafarians, Egyptology, Beko Lashon, race, ethnic diversity, and how all those subjects relate to Judaism. Israel's family tree spreads from the West Indies to Ethiopia, to rural North Carolina, to the boroughs of New York. His Ethiopian father and Moroccan mother, both Jewish, met on a Sida and date arranged by an Orthodox matchmaker. His family kept kosher while living in the Black Christian neighborhood of Harlem. He attended Jewish study groups at the Moorish Temple of the Moorish Jews on Saturday and went to church on Sunday to fit in with the neighborhood culture. My mother always said two things, he said with a smile. Always remember you're Jewish. I don't care what you do or study, but always remember you're Jewish. And when you get in a bind, go back to your Jewish culture. Take refuge in it. Through adolescence and young adulthood, Israel studied Malcolm X more so than Martin Luther King, Buddhism, Islam, Confucianism, and Hinduism. In college, he identified with the Jewish Student Union and Rastafarians, but felt resistance from others. Israel recalls hearing from disbelievers, "You're drunk on that stuff." He was labeled troublesome and zealous. As a self-proclaimed ambassador, Israel drowns out the noise. His goal is to teach people of all colors and religions to delve deeper into the past. What are the symbols of the 12 tribes? What does it mean for your vocation? Why are you Christian? Maybe you're a Jew, he said. People talk about putting together pieces of a puzzle. It's not like that. It's like putting back together a broken glass. Some tiny parts are going to be missing. That's what we need to figure out. And that's an article about the good brother, Northern Bay Israel of the Moorish Temple of the Zionist Jews, founded in Harlem. So we say, again, if Northern Israel is a bay,
right,
and he's full-blown, full-fledged Judaism, why are these people going at the Moor? Why are they going at the Moor? What's the purpose of them going at the Moor? If we can go to the Wailing Wall and see European Ashkenazis with their fur hat and they're there with their fez on, which obviously they got from the Jews who were before them. How is it that these dressing like Power Rangers Hebrew Israelites are trying to tell people that Hebrew Israelites aren't Moors? These people got their stuff from the dark-skinned Jews. You go look up the Jews in Ethiopia and you see all those leaders, all those rabbis over there with fezzes on. Brown ones, white ones, black ones, orange ones. But they're not Moors? Islam Moor.
It's not. And what's crazy, the whole time he was reading it, right, and going in just now, they always tie themselves back to a place. Before they say they Jew, like even the guy, his mom was Moroccan and his dad was Ethiopian.
Yep.
They were Jews, but they said that they were Moroccan first and Ethiopian first. And then, like you just said just now, they got the Jews in Ethiopia, or the Ethiopian Jews. Well, at least they know they so-called Ethiopian, which we know are Moors. So it's again, you're like they said earlier, his mom being a Moroccan Jew. They're Moors. They're Moors. Jew. That's why I'm looking at it even more clearly now. They all knew that Jew was just a religion. It's not a bloodline, nationality. You know, like even the guy's Moroccan mother told him, "Don't forget that you're Jewish." And I'm like, okay, but she also knows that her bloodline is Moroccan. You know, but if you doing your practices and whatever you're studying, don't forget that you're a Jew. But she knew that the whole time. They're not talking about bloodline. They're talking about religion, not nationality, not consanguinity, not country, land. Because you can't. If Jew was a place or whatever, or Hebrew was a place, how are all these people being called Ethiopian Jews and Moroccan Jews and Europeans now calling themselves Jews, and they're freaking Polish, German and whatever when you get down to it. Because I remember when I was handing out the prophet literature, the newspapers at the park, only person who came up to me was a so-called Jew and asked me about the literature I was handing out. And I started building with him, and I asked him, what's his nationality? He said, oh, I'm Jewish. Now, I said, oh, you're from Palestine. He goes, no, I'm Polish. I said, oh, okay. He knows. Like, but if I didn't know to say that, he wouldn't have went in. Oh well, yeah, I'm Polish. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, would have fell for the okie doke.
Yeah,
fell for the okie doke.
But because he seen that, oh, okay, this man got some knowledge about land and stuff like that. Like that, yeah. So now he's spilling the beans. He's Polish. He's from Poland. That's not Palestine. I mean, so-called Israel. Which they stole in 1948. There's people still alive that was born in like the 40s. There's still people alive that never even heard of, Israel being a land. You know what I mean? Like, that bugs me out. Like, oh, when we was little, that didn't exist. Like, that bugs me out. Like, what do you mean when you were little that didn't exist? They just made that up. Yep. And then we go on to YouTube or videos and you see crazy people going all the way to Palestine talking about they're Israelites. Yeah. And this is the land of such and look at that. Fraud. Same thing going on now. These people, the video you're showing right now, this man's in the so-called, hood or whatever, sitting there spreading dogma. And all I'm looking at it is like, you guys are just working for Rome. Like, that's all you're doing.
Pretty much.
All you're doing is just working for Rome. You're not even doing the esoteric teachings out there. You're just spreading straight dogma.
You're not even doing Yahweh's work. You're not doing the work of Abraham.
And we're going to go in on that too, because we know there's no such thing as Abraham. No such thing as none of that. There's no Yahweh, none of that. That's all Egyptian practices that they stole. Who the Moors was the custodians of.
Ancient Kemetic knowledge. Then just in case people don't get to read the chat, the Moor said in the chat, state of Israel. So Israel was never a nation. Stop lying.
Israel was never a nation. Never. Who told you Israel is a nation?
Who told you Israel is a nation?
James did? James? Oh, they call him King James.
Oh yeah, James.
James told you that?
King James. I was watching a good one this morning too about with Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was ripping the scriptures, talking about their king, talking about how his mom never knew James was a king. She thought James was the dude that God talked to bring the Bible.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
and that what's the name of the thing again? And Buckingham was James's boyfriend, not the palace.
That's their guy. That's their guy, man. That's their guy. And then when you play this video, though, they're going to start, well, who wrote your book? Like, you guys that's that Sonetta watching and stuff.
Yeah.
These people don't do no scholarly research and found that out on their own. Mm-hmm. That's that Sonetta on the TV watching stuff.
Yeah. No research. No research.
None. And that's how I be looking at them. I'm like, you guys are just all sellouts, and even in your own camp, you guys are selling out. You guys aren't serious. You're at home watching Sonetta videos. You're not serious about even what you're doing for your own stuff. You watch Sonetta videos and dumb nigger videos. Like, you should be studying your scripture real hard, going hard. Y'all watching Sonetta videos coming on here trying to use those stuff to go against Moors. Nothing. You didn't study that. You ain't gonna research that. You're gonna show it. The Moor is telling them it's prepared, and they still acting like they acting like they didn't even hear him say it was prepared.
They don't want it.
They didn't even hear him say it was prepared. They're just yelling. And I'm like, yo, your whole thing is King James. And the guy went to get to write it. Like, what do you mean? Authorized version. That was for modern Europeans to be reading. And if they caught you reading any other book, you was going to get killed at that time. At that time, you couldn't read no other book.
Exactly.
And the word in Hebrew, Hebrew is a Greek word. Israelite is an English word. So they're Greek and English. I don't even know how they did that.
They did that. They went there. They went there.
Israelite is a Greek word, is an English word, and Hebrew is a Greek word. Like, what are they doing? What are they like? That's total. That's just backwards. And he's gonna be in the video talking about from such and such white man, and I'm like, your whole thing is based off of that. That whole Eurocentric thinking platform.
And it goes back to that idea that, if the people aren't taking it on themselves to study, then they're going to be caught up with the brainwash of the individuals who want to keep them in that place of not studying. Because once you don't study, now you're vulnerable to all the BS.
Yeah.
Once you're not studying, then you have no defense. When these people try to inset thoughts, because they do that. And again, only because the Moor was on his game that they weren't able to inset thoughts in him. There was a blockade when they tried to do their quote-unquote Kabbalah magic on the Moor. Because they could do that Kabbalah magic on dumb Negroes walking up and down that don't know themselves. And keep in mind that they had been posted up. They had been posted up, like somebody told them, the Moors, get the camera ready, the Moor is coming, or something like that. They were posted up waiting for the Moor. Posted up waiting for the Moor. Also, when you go research the hood that the Moor lived in, a Dira complex or whatever like that, that's a Hebrew word. Now, how come they don't live there? If that hood is named after, if that hood is a female Hebrew name, how come the Hebrew Israelites don't live there? It's the Moor that lives there. No different than how come when you go to so-called Israel, you have to use the Moorish bridge to get to the Moor's gate. Why do you have to take the Moor's bridge to get to the Moor's gate over there? Doesn't that mean that all that stuff is Moorish? It's not what we say. That's what they built over there. A Moor's bridge so you can get to the Moor's gate.
So I created myself? God is within you. Right? So I created myself? God is within you. So did I create myself? God is within you. Did you create yourself? God is within you. Explain to me, what does that mean? You got a higher self and you got a lower self, bro. You feel in the physical form.
Now, let's just go in a little bit to help out all those who want to learn. Because the Moor was so on a different plane that we know that they missed it, because they uploaded this as if the Moor was in error and they were right. And since they wanted the Moor to read out the book, we're going to read out the book for the Moor, so we can get exactly what it is that he was trying to convey in his message to these idiots that call themselves Hebrew Israelites. And they have the doctrine and the scriptures, the whatever, but they're in denial of the fact that they have a higher self and lower self. Right? Here's what Noble Jwali. Oh yeah, and before we do that, let's just put the intro out there so that you can really get the perspective as to why this was done. First thing off the bat, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. Know thyself. What self? Your higher self and your lower self. Know thyself. First thing, before anything else, know thyself. Matrix movie, above the door, know thyself. Ancient Egypt, before you go in the pyramid, before you go in all the temples, know thyself.
Yep.
Alhambra, before you go there, know thyself. Mexico pyramid, before you go there, know thyself. Buddhist teachings, before you know Buddha, know yourself. It's everywhere, common theme, but that's only in the true and divine prophets' teachings. All the fakers, they don't want you to know yourself. The fakers want you to know the guy who brought you the whatever. The fakers want you to know the God that brought you whatever. And all these things are constantly outside of yourself. It's a regular thing that your salvation is outside yourself when you're dealing with other than the divine prophets and their disciples. The genealogy of Jesus, with 8 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all those who love Jesus and desire to know about his life works and teachings. And just to backhand the people who, why is he saying Jesus? Jesus is a European and all that BS. He knew he was talking to dumb niggers in the 1920s, which is why he said Jesus. Trust me, he knew that Jesus is a mystic name. Trust me, he knew that. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order, and your children would learn to love instead of hate. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. As I am a prophet, and the servant is worthy of his hire, you can receive this profit at expense. The reason these lessons, you can receive this pamphlet at expense. So we got a call today from a Moor, newly awakened Moor, who bumped into these Morehouse lawyer people and hit them up with $3,000. Hit them up with 3,000 notes for some papers and for some nationality cards. Nationality cards and papers and anything to do with Moorish nationality and birthrights falls under these lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale. $3,000 notes. Brother is over here from the islands, wanting to be free, wanting to be liberated. Thought he was dealing with his brother. 3,000 for papers and cards that are BS. that we spoke with a graphics designer, and graphic designer looked at the card and said, these cards are BS. Why would they design this looking like this? As a graphic designer, said the graphic designer, these cards are BS. There's no way that this could be a card for somebody as an identification. It doesn't, there's no way. Oh yeah, and then graphic designer, he got game too, and he got hit up for a few hundred. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages, have these secrets been delivered to the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet of 1927 by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So we go to chapter 3, Elihu's lesson, the unity of life. Again, Elihu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, no man live unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. Just like the Moor was showing love to the Hebrew brothers, trying to put them onto some knowledge of self. And because of their indoctrination by their Hebraic, Israelite, Hebrew leaders who are sellouts, because they know from Ben Amim to, what the hell is his name again? From Ben Amim to Abba Bivens, and all the Hebrew leaders, that they're Moors. Trust me, they know that they're Moors, because all Hebrew Israelites come out of this. There ain't no Hebrew Israelites that weren't part of this before their whatever branch of Hebrew that they say they are today. All of them came out of this. The Moorish Zionist temple of the Moorish Jews, all of them. You just go research it yourself and you'll see. All of them come out of this. The Moor was trying to put them on to some knowledge about who they really are, to stop playing around. And again, just go on Canaanland Moors and look up the videos that we have with the Israelites, where there's Moors who are Israelites that we're interviewing, and they're telling people that Israelites are Moors. And they study Kabbalah, they speak Hebrew and all that stuff. But they're not playing around that they're some Ben whatever. They're Els and Bays, even though they speak Hebrew. Even though they study Kabbalah and they read Tanakh, Torah and all that, they know that they're Els and Bays. How is it so hard for these fakers? Because they've been trained. They've been trained to do exactly what it is that they're doing. Keep people away from knowing the truth about themselves, their higher self and their lower self. Praise Allah for a Prophet Noble Drew Ali, for being sent to these Asiatics of America, so the ones who want to learn could learn. The ones who don't want to learn, then you stay right where you're at, not knowing what the hell's going on. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. They will not do to other men what they would not have other men do unto them. There are two selves, the higher self and lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. The lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of the higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah in man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. The lower self that the Hebrew brothers were demonstrating breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life. The lower self is rich in promises, just like those Bibles and scriptures that people got, but poor in blessedness. That's why they keep having the God speak about destroying stuff or whatever. And peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying game, but gives unrest, misery, and death. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. If you would ask what to study, I would say study yourselves. And you well have studied them, and then would ask me what to study next. I would reply, yourselves. He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows the things that will pass away. And he who knows his higher self knows Allah, knows well the things that cannot pass away. Thrice blessed is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the perils of the lower self and is himself his higher self. Men seek salvation from an evil that deem a living monster of the nether world, and they have gods, but are demons in disguise, all powerful, yet full of jealousy and hate and lust, whose favors must be bought with costly sacrifice of fruits and the lives of birds and animals and humankind. And yet these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, and no power to save. This evil is a myth. These gods are made of air and clothed with shadows of a thought. Just go look up thought forms. Go do your research on thought forms. These are the gods that these people are serving. The only devil from which man must be redeemed is self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self. If man would find his savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the savior, love, will be exalted to the throne of power. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark and seats the savior, love, upon the throne. So that's the extended version of what the Moor was trying to relate to these blockhead Hebrew Israelites who couldn't even get past the fact that your higher self and a lower self. They couldn't even get past that because all they wanted to do was like what their Hebrew Israelite teachers taught them is challenge every single thing that anybody has to say, and that actually shuts their chakra system down. Because if you're a Israelite, if you're a Isis, Ra, Elohim, you're supposed to be of an open mind. You're not supposed to be closed-minded. If you're an Israelite, if you're a Jew, your jewel, your pineal gland, is supposed to be open. It's not supposed to be closed. This is why, again, we give honors to the Moor. putting his bag down, going wherever he was going, putting his bag down to try to put some knowledge onto these nincompoops called Israelites. And remember, it's not all of them. The ones who know that they're Moors, Brother Norvin Bay, the Moors who we did our little streams with, who are Israelites, but know that they're Moors, give honors to those Moors. Because they could be liars like the rest of them, selling all of our people out. But no, they chose to honor their foremothers and forefathers like their scriptures tells them, and declare and proclaim their nationality as Moors. Islam Moor.
Islam, right? You just gave him a lot of information just now, Grant.
It's all good. You know how we do, yo.
I just want to add on because, again, their whole thing is based off of that book, man. That the Bible, but the Bible is based off of, like their guy Abraham. Like that's all Egyptian. We said it earlier. That's all Egyptian stuff. That's not even Israelite or Hebrew or whatnot. And we know that Hebrew, again, is Ibri, which means to cross over. It's not even a noun, it's a verb. It's an action, to cross over. It's not a people. It's not a noun, it's a verb. So who are the ones who crossed over? Is my question. Those people. Because he kept saying in the video, who were the people? Who were the people? It couldn't be Hebrew, because that's Ibri, and it means those who crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the Moors were the ones who crossed over. Because what they said they were speaking Canaanite. They spoke Canaanite.
Yep.
When you go look for ancient Hebrew or whatever, it's Canaanite. It's Canaanite language. And Canaanite and Egyptian is the same stuff. Once you look at the hieroglyphs of Egyptian hieroglyphics, and you look at Canaanite hieroglyphics, it's the same thing. And then you can go look at the Mayan hieroglyphics and the Egyptian hieroglyphics and the Canaanite hieroglyphics, and it's all the same stuff. Same people. Same people. Something might be a little different. And we do that now, today. Like when the so-called island men, when they're talking, I have no idea what they're saying. But I guess they speak in English, so-called, when down south people talk compared to up north people when we talk.
Yeah.
we're saying the same stuff, but we just make it sound different. But it's the same thing. You get the gist of it.
Yeah.
But it's the same people. Same people. Y'all just sound a little different. But I'm up north, and my father's down south. But just because I crossed over up north means I'm not part of my dad anymore. Like, right. That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? My dad's down there. He's still down there talking country and everything. I don't sound like my dad. But it's the same people. It's my dad. These guys think because they came up, they crossed over, now they're part of something. And then my other thing is, in their book, it says that Jacob changed his name to Israel. Well, how did y'all become a whole nation? Because the guy just changed his name to Israel. How does that, what does that have to do with you? Like, some guy corrected, like, that's like Moors, he correct our status. And then somebody's going around, saying they're a nation of the name of the corrected status that we chose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, how? Like, these people just sound crazy, but they don't even see it. They don't even. They just read. Read some verse and yell it, and I'm like, brother, you don't even know what that means. You just regurgitate like a parrot.
Yeah, that's all they do, parrot. That's all they do.
They have no idea what those words mean. None. And I told the Grand Sheik, I built my friend, and I told him, I said, I noticed that, going through it and studying that, as a people, 99% of our problems is really because we're incompetent. Because we don't know what words mean. If we knew what words meant, we wouldn't even get mad. But because we think we know what the word means, now we're getting upset because of our pride, which pride is faith without knowledge, according to C. Freeman L. And that's what gets us in trouble. That's why they're out there arguing, like the Moor is standing still because he already know. Moor already know.
You already know.
Yeah, I mean, he already know. And it looked like he's trying to I'm just going to give it on a low standard and just, I'm on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Yeah, he knows they're not going to
get it.
Yeah.
And I'm listening, and I'm like, okay, what's the argument about now? He told you he's about love. What are we arguing about?
What are you arguing? You not down with love, then, if that's the case.
Yeah. Islam, Grand Sheik. What a second.
Islam, what?
In all planes, man is the Lord of all planes, bro.
So where are the words of God found at?
What you mean, what are the words of God found?
Where are the words of God found at?
Through man, bro.
So the words of God are found through man?
In man. God talked to man through man, bro.
God talked to man through man?
Yes.
So there is no manual, there is no manuscripts?
God talked to man through man.
So there is no way to find the words of God?
You got.
So does your Quran tell you about
all divine prophets?
Right.
All divine prophets on the same thing, bro.
They teach the same word.
Islam.
No. I just clicked over that.
Oh, all right.
All divine prophets are on the same thing.
They teach the same word.
They brought you the highest principles known to man.
They teach God's words.
They brought you the highest principles known to man.
Which is God's words.
Which is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
No, which it is that we
which
the
is
Israelites and all the other nations they go into captivity.
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, bro. That's what it's about.
See, you preaching that with the so-called white man.
No,
that's
you preaching what you preaching so-called white man.
When was the Quran created? When was the Quran created? 622 AD.
Now, again, just to stress the point. The Moors, let's see if I got this. The Moors had many different perspectives because of the science that was presented to the Asiatics of America. When Noble Drew Ali came on the scene and he brought the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, to the Moors in America. Like I said in the beginning, these were the teachings, the secret teachings that were lost. How is it that these secret teachings were lost? Why were these secret teachings lost? Because like we found out from the master teacher, C. Freeman L., that Allah is an acronym, and God is an acronym, and Islam is an acronym, and so is Quran. Knowledge, order, rhythm. Remember, all these are sciences. This is not just some religious whatever.
That's right.
Knowledge, order, rhythm, KOR, astral. Right? What do you mean astral? How is astral connected to religion? These are the secrets of so-called religion that were taken away so that we could be stuck on strictly Bible teachings. Imagine that we didn't have the true knowledge of what certain things are, like with regard to, like the acronyms, right? Thinking that these things are just what the word is. Now, when you break it down into an acronym, now this thing has opened up into a whole new dimension. Knowledge, order, rhythm, astral, and nature, Quran. Those are the teachings of the Moorish master teachers who came after Noble Drew Ali, deciphered more than what was presented, because Noble Drew Ali told these Moors, study, study, study.
Study, study, study. Yeah.
Once you study, you find these things out. You think Moors would know what the hell's going on if it wasn't for people like Hilton Hotima putting out information? Manly P. Hall putting out information? You think that Moors would have gotten certain keys just by reading Noble Drew Ali stuff only? No. Not. If he said study, 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 and he told you study yourself, and when you finish studying yourself and he asks you what you want to study again, and he's going to tell you yourself, obviously he knew that there was a lot more for us to learn. And he didn't want us to be in this closed-minded religious perspective. Oh, what Noble Drew Ali brought, that's it, and there's nothing else. Why did he bring everything that it takes to save a nation and told us save ourselves? Because when we go research everything that he brought, it's going to lead you to so much other things. You find me a pastor who's going to tell you go study some metaphysics or whatever like that. You find me a rabbi who's going to tell you go study the Kabbalah for real. Study the Kabbalah as far as the science. The science being that the serifs of the tree of life represent the chakras and the celestial bodies of the universe.
Yeah.
Ain't no rabbi telling no Jews that.
That's what the 12 tribes are.
They're gonna have to go find that out themselves. They're gonna have to go find that out on their own. There's no imam gonna relate to the Muslims what Hand of Fatima and all these things really are. People are looking at that as just some mundane, a hand. It's not a hand. Ain't no hand have two thumbs on it. Hand of Fatima has two thumbs. 3 fingers, 2 thumbs. Why? Because it's a science. It's bigger than what people think it is. So when they start talking about you got a Quran, when did that come about? 600 or whatever. We know that these people are dumbasses. We know that they're parrots. Because only a parrot would just take what somebody said or what somebody showed them and not say, oh, let me see. Okay, thanks. I'm going to see you in 2 days. Let me just go check out what it is that you just gave me, and I'll be back. The fact that they kept asking questions and not waiting for the answer, they just kept asking more questions, that's training. But remember, they've been trained to deal with Negro, black, colored people. They don't know how to deal with Moors. That's why they upload this, like they're smart guys. That's why I took it and uploaded it to show them that there's some dumbasses.
Right. Like
Because the more
showdown.
the more schooled them on some levels that they don't even know that they got schooled. Islam more.
Islam. They did it like it was a Wild Wild West showdown.
Yep.
How they got the Moor to come out and oh, what you want, kinfolk? What you want, kinfolk? Yep. Brother, this ain't no movie.
Slap him with the glove. Moor came back, slap him with the glove.
Exactly. I tell you, they're dueling. They're having duels. They're having duels. Playing games. This guy's out there in his Power Ranger suit yelling.
Yep. Yelling.
And then I guess the other Power Rangers heard him yelling, and then there was a bunch of Power Rangers around just yelling. Because it just starts off with these two guys, and then all of a sudden,
it's
two guys, and the cameraman, and then all of a sudden, all these other people come out of nowhere, you know. And you know, all of these guys are Tyron and Cedric and Robert and whatever. Yep. All of them with their IDs. When they leave that parking lot and they get in their conveyances, you know, they got cars. When they get in their car and they go drive, because they driving. When they go do all of that, they pulling out Robert and Tyrone and Travis. There's no more, Israel, nothing.
Yeah. No Ben Ishmael or none of that. Yeah, none of that.
Highlandmen pull them over. They license and registration. They're not saying Ecclesiastical 3 or John 3 or whatever. They're not saying that. They're not going to be in the back seat talking about read. They're not saying that.
And this is how much of a parrots they are. That the boy said in the chat. How come it's only black rangers? Where's the red one and the green one and the other rangers? How come everybody wants to be Black Power Ranger? How come?
Everybody.
You play it around.
Everybody, the whole set.
The whole set wants to be Black Power Ranger. Play it.
And that's the thing too, because that whole thing, man, they know they're playing. Look, like you said, and that went over my head too when you pointed it out. Like, look, you can tell that they did the whole camera setup, and here come the Moor. And okay, again, what are you doing this for? Are you doing it to help uplift so-called Israelites, or are you doing this because you want an audience? Mm-hmm. You guys are doing this because you're trying to entertain people. You're not doing this to help anybody to get out of anything. Your whole setup was, okay, this is going to get us some views. That was the whole setup. Mm-hmm. That was the whole thing. It wasn't because even if, you know, the Grand Sheik came in, I mean, for me personally, even if it was like 3 people listening, it didn't matter to me because those are the only 3 people who need it. I don't need this big old, we don't need a big old audience.
Exactly.
These people looking for audiences and views and stuff like that. Yeah. And no. That's why I love how the elder was going in. Like, I don't care about none of that reading stuff behind me, none of that. I don't care about none of that.
I'm talking to this camera.
I don't care about none of that.
I'm talking to this camera right here.
None of that means nothing. None of that. Yeah, I love how the elders showed them, like, man, I don't care about them yelling. Y'all think I'm going to get riled up and all of that. Nope. Not going to, nope. I love how the elder did it. I'm not going to get riled up. I'm going to tell y'all what it is. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And let the world see how y'all argued that. Y'all argued love and truth and peace. You argued that.
Yeah. Now, once again.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. To say what? A bunch of stuff. This man's telling you love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And you told him he's cursed because he lives in their hood.
You're fighting them.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Told him he's cursed.
That's that.
That's what his book teaches.
That's that Kabbalah magic. These dudes,
Yep.
trust me, they don't know what they're doing because they're parrots. Trust, they don't know what they're doing because they're parrots. But the Moor picked up on what they were trying to do by him boxing them into their own stuff. Had them boxed in their own stuff, they couldn't move. What did they have to do to try to throw them off the square? Start talking BS about because he lives in the hood, he's the cursed people of Canaan and all this BS. That's what they call, you know, when you're in the fight, the guy picks up the sand, throws it in your eyes because you're beating his ass. That's what that was. That's what they just did. When the guy has the knife in the spear with the button, and then, you know, he hit you with the spear, he knows that, oh yeah, you're not getting close to me because I got you. And then push the button on the pole, and then the spear comes out, stab you, and you weren't even expecting that. That's what that was that they did. Because he had them in a corner, beating their ass. And he didn't even get it. He didn't even get to read the Quran yet. He didn't even get to read a page in the Quran. That's why when you look at what Noble Drew Ali presented to the Moors, remember, all this Moor did was put up the circle 7 on them and had these people bedazzled. All he did, show the Quran. Demons jumping out of these Hebrews. Exorcism on the spot. Just from holding up the 7 seals. Think about it. From the time that they said, what's your holy book? And he went like this, bam, and he showed them the holy book. These dudes were done for. Because it broke the brainwash. The symbol of the circle 7. It's all metaphysical. You realize that it's metaphysical? The 7 in the broken circle. And the circle's broken because the circle is what they use for their rituals or whatever when they do a cult. And he gave them the broken circle and broke them. Had them broke to the point where, just like we were reading earlier, had them broken to the point of glass, where once you try to put it back together, you're gonna have pieces missing because you're not gonna get every shard of glass to put back in place. This is not like you broke, you know, your mom's vase or something like that. You could glue that together before she comes home or whatever. You're not gonna find every glass shard. And just to put this out there again, with regard to Moorish and these so-called Israelites who are Hebraic. Mosques and palaces with their blazing colors of the richly painted interiors added to the atmosphere of Oriental splendor. Pure Moorish style, an enthusiastic journalist qualified it. The boys and girls ascended the staircase to the altar platform and took their places along the sides. They were followed by synagogue dignitaries carrying Torah scrolls, which they placed in the ark. The organ continued to play. Then the architect spoke, followed by Rabbi Duch. His presentation gave way to a military cantor who intoned the prayer for the emperor. Finally, a rousing rendition of the national anthem concluded the happy occasion. Just before lunch, on September 16, 1906, His Imperial Emperor Francis Joseph I's Jubilee Temple of Prague was consecrated as a house of God. Deutsch's temple was a rather late example of the Moorish-style synagogue, an architectural phenomenon that began in Germany in 1830 and was popular throughout much of Jewry until about the outbreak of World War I. The pillars inside the major Berlin and Dresden synagogues were copied from the famed Alhambra, fabulous white onion ball domes recalling the Taj Mahal dominate the four corners of the Israelite Temple of Turin. The Plum Street Temple in Cincinnati has two enormous minarets, numerous domes, and a donkey-back entrance arch typical of many famous mosques. There are dozens more such exotic synagogues in Europe and America. There were more before. The English visitors and Libyan Israeli were wrong. Moorish-style synagogues were not built for Sephardim, but for Ashkenazim. Very few, and it seems none until the late 1870s, were meant to make any reference at all to the Jews of Muslim Spain. The style is called Moorish because Moorish architecture, especially Alhambra of Granada, dominated the image of the early 19th century Europeans had of Islamic architecture as a whole. To them, though they were capable of making finer distinctions if they had to, a Muslim was a Muslim. As one art historian put it, Moorish style is a Western concept, and its widest sense denotes a style derived from Islamic design elements found in countries ranging from Spain to Mughal India in the east. It was also once called the Mohammedan, the Arabian, or the Saracen-style synagogue. To avoid over-identification with Moorish Spain, some recent writers have preferred the term Moorish Islamic. Why do you got synagogues that are Moorish style? Why Moorish? Synagogues and the Moorish revival. One of the first things people notice when visiting the 1887 Eldridge Street Synagogue is the use of the Moorish style. It is seen in the synagogue's rooftops, horseshoe-shaped windows and arches. Hand-painted Moorish architecture is associated with Islamic structures in Spain and Middle East, including the famed Alhambra Palace and the Taj Mahal in India. And yet, the museum at Eldridge Street's Lost Synagogues of Europe expedition makes clear that this style, widely used for Jewish sacred sites throughout Europe in early 1830, the vast majority of images featured in the exhibit depict Moorish synagogues. Why is Moorish style? The Moorish revival style was named for the North African Moors who conquered Spain and the majority of the Mediterranean beginning in the late 700s. Moorish designs incorporated traditional Arabic and Oriental, such as grand domes, archways, intricate floral patterns, colorful tiles, all found in countless mosques in the Iberian Peninsula. At the time of Al-Andalus, or the period of Muslim rule across Spain and the Mediterranean, the relationship between Christians, Muslims, and Jews was peaceful. So why are these people making war with Moors? Why are these Hebrew Israelites making Moors when history tells us that Christians, Muslims, and Jews were living in peace together? Where did beef come from? Where did jealousy come from? Where did the hatred come from? What is the purpose of being jealous? Why? Why would you hate? The period was seen as a golden age in Jewish culture. Jews were accepted within society and flourished economically and culturally. Because of this, many assume that the revival of Moorish architecture in Jewish synagogues was mainly in homage to this time period. However, according to anthropologist Ivan Davidson Kalmar, an expert on the Christian views of Jews and Muslims, the Moorish phenomenon had more complex roots. By the early 1800s, echoes of the Muslim rule remained across southwestern Europe. However, many of the medieval mosques had been converted to Catholic cathedrals, and the majority of Europe was under Christian control. During this period, there was a surge in the construction of churches and cathedrals all across Europe. At the same time, many of the communities in Central and Eastern Europe were slowly gaining social, political, and economic freedom. Local governors began to allow Jewish communities to build large and conspicuous synagogues for the very first time. Beginning in ornate temples were constructed as major cities such as Dresden, Berlin, and Prague. Many incorporated Neo-Roman, Gothic, and even Egyptian elements. However, the use of design elements such as horseshoe windows and doors, onion domes, was unmistakably Moorish. Throughout the 19th century and up until World War I, a great majority of synagogues built in Europe and the US possessed distinctly Moorish elements. Why are you people hating on the Moor? Why are you hating on the Moor? Just hating just because you have nothing to do, or were you sent? Were you planted to be in this place when this Moor came out here and you are being used as a ploy, you being used as a tool to try to get the Moor off his square so he can be in his lower self instead of being in his higher self where he's supposed to be at all times, because Allah and man are always one. Islam, Moor.
Islam, Moor. Now I wanna if you just went in because I wanna go in on the mixture with the so-called Jews and Islam too, because when they go on the symbology, like for instance, when we were speaking of the star earlier, when they speak on the Star of David, right? Or yeah, exactly. When they speak on the Star of David in I guess the Jewish or Hebrew Israelite symbology, when you like that's their shield of David, Star of David, you know. So when they read their famous book, you know, they like to, or they walk around with their famous star on them or whatnot. Now, when you go and read about, okay, now again, the Star of David, it says, okay, I want to get that article. The Star, all right. It's on the Haaretz.com, HAARETEZ.com, right? It says in 1897, the Zionist movement adopted the Star of David as its emblem. In 1948, it was incorporated into the design of the flag of the new state of Israel. and it is used today to symbolize everything from Israel. Now, again, they're giving you the origin of that. In 1897, the Zionist movement adopted the Star of David. So it was adopted. Now, when you go dig some more research and you go look up on that Star of David, people start getting attitudes or whatnot because the Star of David starts speaking about when you it's the Baphomet. It goes straight to Baphomet, right? And they think the Baphomet is the devil or whatever. But then when you do some research in a regular dictionary, the word Baphomet is the code word for Muhammad. So their Star of David was Muhammad. It's the symbology of Muhammad. So every time you see their star in a dictionary, when you look up the word Baphomet, because that's where the star goes back to Baphomet, and it means Muhammad. The symbology goes right back to Muhammad, which is the Moors. Back to the Moors, letting you know, right in the dictionary. That's not even their stuff. The whole idea of it becoming some Jewish symbol or whatnot was in 1897. And it becoming a state, like the Moor said, not a nation, a state, was in 1948. That's when they got a flag. 1948. All this stuff is last week. All this stuff is last week. Why do they keep talking like there's some ancient time when God was no, that didn't happen. None of that was happening. Islam, Grand Sheikh.
Islam.
This right here, this right here, this not no wrestling match. This not no wrestling match, bro.
I'm trying to give you knowledge.
This not no wrestling match. This not no wrestling match.
I'm here for you, kid.
This not no. I'm here for you, bro.
So
I ain't here for you.
So give me some knowledge.
Here you is walking around still spitting this poison, bro.
How's it poison?
It's poison because up top you got churches on top of churches, next door to churches on top. That ain't working, bro.
You know why it ain't working?
It ain't working because of what you preaching, bro.
No, it ain't working because they're not coming out this Bible.
No,
that's why it ain't working.
What you mean it ain't coming out?
So I got a question for you, brother.
Churches on top of churches on top of churches.
Let me ask you one question, brother.
Say that again, what?
I said, look at the Moor. What you mean they ain't coming out the Bible? What they reading? What you mean they ain't coming out the Bible?
What you mean?
What they reading is
How you not coming out the Bible? How you not coming out the Bible? When you got a Bible in your hand. What the hell are you talking about? The hell are you talking
They're not
about?
coming out of the Bible. What? Well, what they reading? They reading the same stuff that these Hebrew Israelites is reading. They reading it the same way. They just pick and choose what they want to read out of it. That's all they doing. And then they're not going to give you etymology breakdown or nothing. Metaphysical breakdown, nothing. They just say it. Hopefully the European school system has done a good job with dogmatizing you to the whole 12 years of school. And now you just believe whatever they're saying is the truth. Because they're hoping that you already got the indoctrination going through the school system. So once you go through that school system of indoctrination, they can feed off of that by keep saying the words that you think. Because we weren't taught correctly with the words meant. Now they're just feeding off your emotion. Because if you're ignorant, they can just read, and nobody knows what those words mean. So now they're feeding off the people's emotions. Because they don't know what the words mean. And now you can get people to argue with them, debate with them, because their whole thing is to have attention. That's their whole thing.
Yep.
Is attention.
Just like these Negroes in our chat coming over here, like they're trying to convince somebody that we're not Moors and we're gonna not be Moors.
my thing, if we're not Moors, we're black. We're black. We're black.
No, we're indigenous.
Oh my goodness.
We're indigenous.
What country is that?
You know, there's not a country. It's an island, Turtle Island. The national.
Turtle Island.
Their nationality is Islander, Islandian. They're Islandians.
I thought some Chinese guy made that up.
Islandians.
It's a myth. The only turtles I know is Parker and Sleepy. I got two turtles. Their name is Parker and Sleepy.
Yeah.
That's the only turtles I know. That's insane, man. I mean, we've been doing this forever though. You was doing it before me. It was more when I look at C. Freemanel, he's going on the so-called Hebrews in 1997, telling them that that's so-called Hebrew stuff. Because Hebrew is a code word. Because what soon as like, okay, C. Freemanel said it the best, man. Once you start seeing too many, you know, okay, that's not adding up. Okay, well, if Hebrew is not a so-called Hebrew word, you know, like it's not an ancient word, you don't, I feel them though, you don't throw it out.
Right.
Examine it.
Exactly.
You know,
the logical thing to do. The logical thing to do is examine it.
And once you examine it, you see that Hebrew is the code word for her web. It's anagrammatic writing. It just changed the words or changed the letters around. It's her web. And then he has Master Teacher C. Freemanel has a perfect breakdown with their Bible teaching where Solomon was born a son of a widow. Back again to her web, because a widow is what kind of spider?
Mm-hmm.
Right in their own words, right in their own teaching.
They're playing. They're definitely playing.
Solomon was born from a widow. Right there, her web. And the web is what? The Hebrew, I forgot, I think it's like the Hebrew system or something like the brain and all this connection to the pineal gland. It's a web. And how the body functions, different parts of blood flowing, activating, you know, into the pineal gland is starting to glow. It's in their book. Again, the book that, King James or whatever, he did it, whatever, you know, that guy did whatever. Ain't nothing wrong with that book. It's just the way that the people reading it is wrong. Like I was listening to you earlier, Grand Sheet, right? And I'm like, it just sounds like what they did because we're dealing with more science, you know. And when you were mentioning the Quran and you were going over the you know what it means, the K is for knowledge, the O is for order. You know, when you were breaking it down, I was like, it just seems as if it's not so much as like dogma. As I'm looking at it, it looks like they took the science and distorted it.
Yeah. That's all they do. Take the science and distort it. Case in point.
Yeah.
Right? Took the science and distorted it, right? Case in point. University of Bristol, Department of Historical Studies, Best Undergraduate Dissertations of 2010. Simon Shaw, Moors in Mesoamerica, The Impact of Al-Andalus in the New World. Curiously, many of these reference points were taken from the areas subjected to heavy Moorish influence. right? That's from Borushoff, Beyond Utopia and Paradise, page 336. His assertion that language and landscape were the only differences to the Spanish were faced with in the New World is interesting and well supported by a plethora of different sources, right? Beyond Utopia and Paradise, Borushoff, Boruchoff. Curiously, many of these reference points were taken from areas subjected to heavy Moorish influence. Cortes, in describing the marketplace of the Aztec capital, compares it at different times to Cordoba, Seville, and Granada. For another conquistador, it was La Scala that was in some ways like Granada, while Mexico's abundant foliage reminded some of Almeria's surrounding areas. And then you can get Elliot Cortez, Letters from Mexico. You can get De Fuentes' book, The Conquistadors. Letters from Mexico by Elliot Cortez and De Fuentes, Defuentes, book The Conquistadors. Awareness that these towns contained pagans may have provoked the Spanish to correlate them with cities that were once Moorish strongholds. Whilst the need to orient themselves through finding similarities to Spain is unsurprising, such an approach paved the way for the inhabitants of these urban areas to be referred to as Moors in many written documents. It can be argued that the Spanish insistence on converting the New World into the likeness of the Old and their inclination to associate Mexican ritual and urban areas with former parts of the Al-Andalus was part of a trend that will culminate in their correlation of the Muslim with the Indian. At times, specific customs and appearance of the natives reminded the Spanish of their more familiar non-Christian foe. To Catholics, the Indians' polygamy was reminiscent of Muslims and the hallmark of an infidel. One warrior claimed that they have as many wives as they can support, like the Moors. For a Spaniard who was one of the first into the Aztec capital, the architecture of the two peoples appeared so similar that he momentarily forgot where he was. FOH. Miss Lotus and Chief Holiday and anybody else out there, Danish call girl and anybody else out there who's making claims that they're Aboriginal and Indigenous, but you're not Moors. When the Spanish came here, they didn't even know where the fuck they were. They thought they were in Granada and Seville when they came over here. That's 1500s. Why they think they're in Savannah and all that? Why they think that they're in Al-Andalus when they're in America? Because Moors ruled here. No goddamn Indians, Aboriginal, Indigenous, Cherokee, whatever ruled over here. The hell out of here. For a Spaniard who was one of the first into the Aztec capital, the architecture of the two peoples appeared so similar that he momentarily forgot where he was. He counted 190 towers, including mosques, and noticed that inside the mosque there were fountains. You know, Aboriginal, Indigenous people built that. You know, Indians built that. Fountains.
No, I never seen a fountain in a teepee.
I never seen a fountain in a teepee. Never. Never. His captain, Hernan Cortez, could have been describing the Sultan's palace of the Alhambra in Granada when talking of Montezuma's very beautiful house with a large patio laid with pretty tiles in the manner of a chessboard. Indeed, it can be said that Cortez treated Montezuma throughout his narrative as though he was a Muslim prince. Correspondingly, the urban dwelling Aztec elite were frequently compared to the appearance of Muslim kings. Fernandez de Oviedo, O-V-I-E-D-O, Fernandez de Oviedo, recalls an indigenous ruler whose headdress resembled an almezar. Juan Diaz also commented on the Moorish silks that were worn by many amongst the Aztec leadership. Whilst there were a limited number of similarities in the practices of the Moors and the Indians, the frequency of comparisons between the two is astonishing. These sources can be used to explore Spanish epistemological paradigms reflecting their determination to treat the New World in the same way as they treated the Old World. Writings that contain passages alluding to Indians that resemble Muslims and part of a wider predisposition to failing to grasp the nature of the inhabitants of the Americas and the significance of Columbus's discovery. The choice of vocabulary used in relation to Indians was not only derived from experiences with Muslims in Spain, but also belied an inability to properly explain the origins of the pagans. Almost all Spanish encounters were passed through a conceptual grid, thus preventing them from assimilating new information in light of past experience. In a passage that wonderfully illustrates this conviction, a conquistador demonstrates his complete misunderstanding of an Indian religion in stating that in the mosques of other cities, they chant at night as though saying matins. The unidentifiable nature of both Indian worship and architecture forces the soldier to describe the natives as reciting Christian prayers in a Muslim religious place. His lack, right? His lack. Don't forget, his lack of relevant vocabulary overrides his judgment and causes him to forget the improbability of such a scenario. The Spanish perceived native architecture, customs, clothes as pagan and infidel in nature, and the pagans and infidels par excellence were Muslims. Therefore, it was natural for Indians to provoke an association with Moors. Although Columbus quickly identified that the behavior of the Native Americans was anything but Islamic, these 16th Spanish descriptions suggest that confusion and comparison was rife. Explaining the origin of the Indians was one of the many problems faced by the mendicant orders in the New World. As their Christian forefathers had done previously to clarify the emergence of Islam, these missionaries tried to use the framework positioned by the Bible to conduct for another strange and seemingly pagan race. Isidore of Seville in the 8th century identified Muslim raiders as Ishmaelites, as the book of Genesis teaches, because they were descendants from Ishmael. The Dominican friar Diego Duran wrote a letter to a friend in Spain describing the natives. He claimed he could positively affirm that they are Jews and Hebrews. The Holy Scriptures bear witness to this, and from them we draw proofs and reasons for holding this opinion to be true. His technique was unoriginal, and as was Isidore, his conclusion incorrect. As conquistadors referred unseen wonders back to old world novels and landmarks, so priests referred back to the Bible for illumination. Their desire to explain the Indians to be of Jewish descent was almost unanimous. Geronimo de Mendieta surmised that the Indians came from the land of Babel after the division of the languages and the destruction of the city the sons of Noah had built. His allusion to Genesis signaled a determination to categorize Indians according to pre-existing models. That the Spanish sought to clarify the Indian using the same technique used to classify the Moor might imply an initial inability to tell the difference between the two. According to Mottolinia, some Spaniards, in view of some of the rites, customs, and ceremonies of these natives, judged them to be the race of the Moors. And you can get, here's some more book references. J.H. Eliot, Empires of the Atlantic World. J.H. Eliot, Empires of the Atlantic World. The Dramatic Story of Earliest Encounters Between Christians and Muslims by R.A. Fletcher. The Cross and the Crescent, The Dramatic Story of the Earliest Encounters Between Christians and Muslims, R.A. Fletcher. Historia de los Indios. Historia de los Indios. De Benavente. D-E-B-E-N-A-V-E-N-T-E. They can fight all they want. They can fight all they want, but these people are done for. Whilst the religion orders never explicitly endorsed this view, their process of identification for Moor and Indian were indistinguishable. The Franciscans and Dominicans were clearly suffering from the same problem as the explorers and soldiers preceded them had faced in describing the natives. Through seeking these old world antecedents, they too were revealing their failure to comprehend their congregation and were subconsciously connecting Muslim with Indian. These comparisons and connections can divulge much about the mindset of those traveling the New World. Sources that overflow with details of blatantly non-Muslim practices, such as sacrifice, are surely evidence that the Spanish did not literally believe Indians to be Moors. Spanish insistence on finding similarities between Old and New World, regardless of evidence suggested, implies irrational behavior. Jeremy Bruner and Leo Postman's psychological experiment involving a set of playing cards containing a reversed color of suit show how perceptual organization is powerfully determined by expectations built upon past commerce with the environment. The centuries-old belief that the word Moor was synonymous with that of other was now the souls that required saving in Mesoamerica. Hernan Cortés illustrated the point. The knowledge structures of the Spanish, carefully formulated over centuries along the Islamic and Jewish religions, simply incorporate the radically different characteristics of New Spain. The practice of finding similarity and precedence between the two worlds meant it was a relative leap to describe the pagan ways of the Indians in Muslim terms. This thesis will argue that the Christians considered the natives to be Moors. An apocalyptic tradition was what distinguished Moors from other non-Christian races in Spanish psyche prior to discovery of the New World, and was the reason for the choice of Al-Andalus as a reference point for describing differences in the New World ahead of, say, former Judaic Spain. The hell more you want? More you want? Islam more.
You know, Islam, and you know that they knew who they would like. It wasn't like, oh, these Indians look like Moors. They knew that they were Moors. Like, come on now. At this time, we're talking about 16th, 17th century. Moors are getting paid by Europeans. Paid. They know who Moors are, and they sleep. They seeing Moors in their dream. They having nightmares about Moors. They know Moors every second.
Yep.
Moors is kidnapping Europeans was a lucrative business in the 16th and 17th century. That was they knew who Moors were extensively. It wasn't, oh, they look like Moors. No, they know exactly what a Moor look like. All they know is Moor. Like, that was the most terrifying thing in the world for these Europeans at this time. Was a dirty Moor. A Moor who would just take every right that a European had and just did him wrong. They were terrified of Moors. Terrified.
Yep. And
you think they don't know who at this time? They can play this BS game now because you go by all these fraudulent colored names. But back then, oh no. They knew exactly what a Moor was, and you couldn't call a Moor outside of his name, period. At this time, you can get the 3-volume book by S.P. Scott of the Moors empire in Europe, and he tell you these Europeans were scared for their life to eat in the vicinity of a Moor. They wouldn't even eat their food. They wouldn't even eat. If a Moor saw a European eating in front of him, he would off his head. You couldn't even eat in front of a Moor. You think these Europeans didn't know who a Moor was at this time? They can't even eat when you show up. They know exactly who a Moor was. You know, but I can see that they still got to not tell all the stories, you know what I mean, in their books, but they knew exactly who the Moors was at this time. Exactly who a Moor was. Okay. I wanted to ask, you still going, Rishi?
Oh yeah, we straight for right now.
You know what I'm saying? You still reading?
Oh something? No, that's it. You good.
Okay. I wanted to add on. Same book from yesterday. So 1,000 pages. Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids by Peter Tompkins. Page 77. It says, in their concentration on the pyramid of Teotihuacan, everybody knows what I'm talking about. The Teotihuacan. In the Aztec calendar stone, Humboldt and Bullock managed to miss a whole world of ancient and amazing ruins in the lower lying jungles of the Chiapas, Yucatan, and Guatemala. During the next 2 decades, these ruins were to intrigue Europeans and North Americans as greatly as had the discoveries of Napoleon in Egypt. Now, they talk about home right here. The first to be discovered included a pyramid, which was years later was to reveal a secret walled-up burial chamber as impressive and difficult of access as had been the so-called King Chamber in the Great Pyramid of Cheops in the time of Caliph al-Mamun. That's a pyramid here. Was when they tried to enter the entrance of it, it was the same thing as the Great Pyramid at Cheops over there. Same thing. Same thing. It was almost impenetrable. It says in 1773, Friar Ramon de Ordonez, canon of the cathedral town of Ciudad Real in Chiapas, then a Guatemalan province sandwiched between Yucatan and Tabasco, heard from an Indian a tale so amazing it was hard to believe. Not far from the village of Santo Domingo del Palenque, within a few miles of where Cortez was known to have passed with an escort of Indians, but made no mention of the fact that there appeared to be a whole abandoned city beautifully built of stone and carved statuary, quite different from anything on the Mexican plateau, entirely smothered by the jungle. And see, stoned and carved statuary. That's not teepees. And then it keeps going. Titillated by the prospect of being the official discoverer of such an amazing relic, Brother Ordonez had his parishioners fashion for him a palanquin to transport him 60 miles to the Guado in the village of Santo Domingo del Palenque. From there, Ordonez's parishioners carried him another 8 miles into the jungle, where they came upon a stone complex completely overgrown with vegetation. The sight was so stunning that Ordonez was prompted to dash off an immediate memorial to his political superior in Guatemala City, Don Jose de Estrella, which he followed with a Whittier monograph entitled A History of the Creation of Heaven and Earth. That's what he entitled his book when he came here and started doing, taking notes on so-called Mexico at the time. He named it A Creation of Heaven and Earth. It says, in which he attempted to explain that the ruins, which he named the Great City of Serpents, must have been built in a remote antiquity by a people who had appeared from the Atlantic, who had appeared from the Atlantic, guided by a leader called Wotan, whose basic symbol was a serpent. Ordonez claimed to have gotten the material of his story from a book written by Wotan himself in the Quiche language, asserting that the original book had been burned by Nunez in 1691, who before destroying it had copied parts of it, which he showed to Ordonez. Wotan was said to have set out for the land of Chile, not specifically identified, but believed to be transatlantic, and to have come to the Yucatan via the dwelling of the 13 identified as the Canaries, with a stopover on a large Caribbean island, presumed to be either Hispaniola or Cuba, but more likely the former. From there, Wotan is said to have crossed the east coast of Mexico, where he made his way up the Ucayalienta River to found the city now known as Palenque. Okay, I want to shoot. Okay, 4 times Wotan is said to have returned to his former home across the Atlantic, known as Valum Chilum, which Ordonez eventually identified as the city of Tripoli in Phoenicia. This is their guy, Botan, who said they came here. He's from Tripoli. After one of these voyages, Botan is described as having come to a great city where a magnificent temple was under construction, which was intended to reach to heaven, but was doomed by confusion of languages. In his constitution, Núñez de la Vega was even more specific, saying that what Botan saw was the Great Wall, the Tower of Babel. That's here. That's here. The Tower of Babel. Here.
No more they want.
Oh yeah, there it goes. According to Ordóñez Núñez in the native Mexican sources, the Chivim were Hivites, descendants of Heth, sons of Canaan. All I was reading, your boy Botan, sons of Canaan.
Looks like they still want more. Let me just click this live video right here, see what's going on over here.
Magnificent temple was under construction, which was intended to reach to heaven, but was doomed by confusion of languages. In his constitution, Núñez de la Vega was even more specific, saying that what Botan saw was the Great Wall, the Tower of Babel. Or somebody else is live, watching me do live.
Yep,
that's here, the Tower of Babel. Here.
Right. And then you might as well put this out too. Might as well put this out too since they're watching live.
According to Ordóñez Núñez in the native Mexican sources.
Since they're watching live, might as well put this out too. Everybody who's in our chat, go on Supreme Chief Holidays live stream right now and push thumbs down. Right, so all you 84 people who's on our live stream right now, just quickly go over to Supreme Chief Holidays live stream and just click the thumbs down quick fast. Yeah, let's give them some support. Let's give them some support. They want support over there.
Nah, Canaanland, Moor. You know what live video? You listening to me speak right now. Stop playing. We're not ready for that work, bro. Yeah, that's why I made sure.
What Botan saw was the Great Wall, the Tower of Babel. Or somebody else is live, watching me do live.
Yep.
That's it, the Tower of Babel.
Right. And then you might as well put this out too. Might as well put this out too since they're watching live.
According to Ordóñez Núñez in the native Mexican sources.
Since they're watching live, might as well put this out.
Yeah, I know you watching me watching you live. Y'all be hating. So hey, what's good?
Go on Supreme.
I'm right back at you. It's clap back day. It's clap back night too. It's clap back in the morning. Right back at your Moorish hairline. You can't sell that Fez.
All you 84 people who's on our live stream right now.
Yeah, and I got you on mute just so you won't have an echo. I know you listen. That's right. I'm ready to give y'all that work. Do y'all really want that work? Okay.
Yeah, let's give them some support. Let's give them some support. They want support over there.
No, Canaanland, Moor. You know what live video? You listening to me speak right now. Stop playing. We're not ready for that work, bro. Yeah, that's why I made sure.
What Botan saw was the Great Wall, the Tower of Babel. Or somebody else. Why should he do live?
That's right. They're trying so hard. They're trying so hard. They're trying so hard. Everybody wants to make a name. Oh yeah, I see you got 18 thumbs down and 24 thumbs up over there, Supreme Chief Holiday. What's going on? How come you got 18 thumbs down on your stuff? You know what that means, right? That's not really a good ratio. 24 thumbs up and 18 thumbs down, you're whack. That's what that's supposed to let you know. That's what that's supposed to let you know. Oh, 19 thumbs down. Let's see if we can get 24 thumbs up and 24 thumbs down on his stuff. Like we said, everybody who's on Canaanland Moors right now, go over to Supreme Chief Holiday and make sure you push thumbs down on their stuff. Let's see if we can get them more thumbs down than they have thumbs up. Let's see. Because that's how we know that these people are clowns. They want to debate facts, but they're going to go on their live and then they're going to play our stuff on their live. Since they're playing, since they're playing it, let's just put this one out there. All right, let's just put this picture up. Since they like to stream stuff. Oh, 24, 22. You got 22 thumbs down over there, buddy. You better talk to your 24 viewers to go like again or something, because your stuff's not looking too good right now. Tamaricans. How about this one? Put this one up there. Tamaricans. Like Tamare. Tamaricans. If people know that it's Tamare over here, if people know that it's Tamare over here, then the people here would be Tamaricans. Oh, and then we could just answer everybody in their chat right now, since their chat's going. Chad Murdoch. Chad Murdoch. Remember, Chad Murdoch, because I see you talking in your little chat over there. The Middle East, y'all Moors forgetting the ancient Arabic order of the mystic noble shrine, but y'all Moors are hating. No, we have our scholar right here, Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey, who already put out the book, and there's his phone number if you want to call him and get yourself a copy so you could know what's going on, because you guys are damn clowns over there, all you people. Anybody who's over there that's riding with some Supreme Chief Holiday, you're a clown, because he's not a Grand Sheik. Lotus is not an Ali or a Bey. He's just a nobody. These are the guys who in high school were the nerds. These are the guys in high school who used to get punked off, and then they become highwaymen, and then they give you tickets now because they're mad.
From high school.
Yeah. That's you guys people. Hating. Oh, I see you got 28 thumbs up and 28 thumbs down over there, Supreme Chief Lotus. You better go deal with your stuff over there, because you guys are whack. How you have 28 thumbs up and 28 thumbs down? You guys are whack. You got 28 thumbs down? Like, how you have 28 thumbs down? How? How? He done broke even.
He done broke even.
Supreme Chief, Grand Sheik, you broke even, buddy. You broke even. Congratulations. 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 Oh no, now you got 30. thumbs down. You're not looking too good over there, bro. You're not looking too good. Because we already been beating your ass for 2 hours. And now you're going to try to play games now. So let's see. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you coming with. Let's see. But I'm telling you, it's not looking too good for you. Because all those losers over there on your side, let's give a shout out to all the losers on your channel. Let's see who's over there.
Los Indios.
Let's just see. Michael Brown Harris Cheek, loser. Nighthawk, loser. Rainstorm, all the laws and treaties don't mention Moors. Rainstorm, you're a loser. Aboriginal Amerindian, you're a loser. Chief Kokomo, I said I'm a beautiful nigga. You guys are freaking lost over there. You zots. Oh, Nighthawk said he's gonna take tomahawks to the zombies' head. Big Chief, chief of what? What are you a chief of, Big Chief? What are you a chief of? Where's your band?
France.
What are you a chief of, Big Chief? You know chief is not an Aboriginal word? You know that, chief guy? Oh, Big Chief giving honors to Mrs. Lotus. Yeah, Chad Murdoch. Ask your boy, what are you guys doing anyways? What are you doing? You just watching us go live? Like, what are you doing? What are you really doing over there? Ask your boy, because he's really wasting you guys' time right now. Supremely wasting your time. And you guys are gonna
shoot the video down. That's kind of weird. Bro. That's like one of those man law violations. I know YouTube man law violations you did right here. That's all good. That's how y'all do that. So let's see what else you got to say.
Aboriginal Amerindian, you're a loser. Chief Kokomo, I said I'm a beautiful nigga. You guys are freaking lost over there. You gods. Oh, Nighthawk said he's gonna take tomahawks to the zombies' head. Oh yeah, Chad Murdoch. Kudro, Moors Kudro is a Taino name. Actually, the way I spell Kudro, that's actually an Akan name. That's actually an Akan name. Because, see, I'm a son of Olokun. So because I honor my ancestors who put me onto some metaphysics, I call myself Kudjo, Kudjo, not Cudjoe, like the Tainos spell it, you know, because there's a Kudjo like that in Jamaica that beat the British ass. But I'm not that Kudjo. I'm the Kudjo, the West African Kudjo, just so you're clear. Because you guys are lost in the sauce. And oh yeah, and the reason why I used the Akan, because when you go over to West Africa, you see that those people had Fezzes over there too. And then when you cut out the map, when you cut out the continents on the map, you see that West Africa fit into North America just like a puzzle, because all of it is one landmass. But you people who call yourself indigenous, that think Atlantic Oceans were there and all that type of stuff, clearly you don't know what you're talking about, right? And, you know, I see you in there, Nighthawk. Moors are foreign enemies like the rest of them. No, we can't be foreigners because Africa and America used to be the same place. So stop the BS. We're not the ones. Please stop the BS. Please stop the BS. Oh, Sister Bethany. Time to get this clown off the screen. He's boring as hell. Yep, that's what your boy wanted. Your boy wanted this. Your boy, Sister Bethany, is the one who's streaming me right now because he has no content. because he can't even teach you anything. That's why he has to stream here. That's why he has to be in our chat. That's why he has to call himself Grand Sheik, and Lotus has to call himself Ali and Bey, because they're losers. That's why. That's why. Oh, Chief Kokomo. What chief who you a chief of? Because all you chiefs, you ever hear the saying, too many chefs spoil the broth? You ever hear that saying? Too many chefs spoil the broth? Yeah, you guys have too much chiefs in your kitchen right now, because everybody's a chief and ain't nobody have any type of authority to call yourself chief. You're just a bunch of Negroes trying to pretend like you're somebody. You're nobody. Nobody. This is not about no ideology war. Don't forget, we were going live since 6 o'clock. Your so-called chief guy, your Grand Sheik Holiday and Noble Lotus Ali Bey came in our chat talking crazy. They couldn't budge the Moors, so then they decided to use you guys' time and go live with me. Like they're doing something. And now you're bored because we know you dumbasses don't want to know about your Moorish history. You want to know that fake Aboriginal Indigenous stuff that these guys don't even have any info to give you. But since he's a dumbass and he can't teach you, and Autochthonous One's probably busy, so you can't call him. Aboriginal Power's probably busy, so he can't call him. Kurumeo's probably busy, so he can't haul him. So he's going to be on here putting up stupid memes about Popeye's chicken and putting up stupid buses and Shriners driving a bus. And you guys think that that's scholarship, and you dumbasses keep following these clowns. That's how we know that you people are clowns. Just like the people who you follow called Grand Sheik Holiday and Noble Lotus Ali Bey. Clapping back with scholarship, and there's no scholarship. You guys are losers. Too many Moors on our lawn? What the hell is that supposed to mean? Of course, Chad Murdoch is going to bring up some pansexual, because all you homoerotic Negroes over there and all you love to see the women shake their body and all that stuff. I don't mean that derogatory. I just mean I love to see women shake their body. Ass Indians over there are playing around. Sister Bethany, you probably need to go to the gym or something like that. Shut the hell up. Right? I know you're not no more, because Moors don't ride with Bethanies, okay? Bethy. All right, Bethy, you go take that European name and go somewhere. The hell out of here. Who else is on there? Who else talking crazy? Because I'm watching your chat right now, so bring it up. Ask your questions. Here I am. This is what your Grand Sheik and your Noble Lotus wanted. So I'm watching your chat right now. Ask all the questions that you want. Moorish books with no Moorish language. Every language is Moorish. Dumbass. Every language. Oh, Bethany, you saw me eating chicken sandwich on my lunch break. Oh, yes, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did, Bethany. I'm sure you did. It's very interesting how you people have absolutely no life, and you're sitting here watching me. Let me ask you something, Bethy. How come your lips are black? How about you answer that? Answer that question. Why do you have black lips?
Not ladylike.
That's not like to have black lips with your 12 subscribers and no videos. What are you doing on YouTube? Why don't you go get some bleaching cream on your lips and get rid of those black lips that you have. Where you're talking crazy about people eating Popeye's chicken. Nobody eating Popeye's chicken over here. You guys are the ones who've been going live talking about Popeye's chicken for the past however, whatever. Yeah? Oh, your name is Bethiona. Oh, Bethiona. Well, Bethiona, you have...
Did they even asking me questions?
They're not even asking questions. They're just in the chat like some dumbasses. They're just in chat like some dumbasses. Just sitting there, doing nothing, just in the chat. Bethiona. The hell is Bethiona? Oh, we're a cult, Libra son. Well, cult is short for culture. FOH. Go get a dictionary. Go get a dictionary. Go learn to read. You dumbasses. What are you doing? Lips that you have.
Yeah.
You're talking crazy about people eating Popeye's
Yes, they
chicken.
are.
Nobody eating Popeye's chicken over here. You guys are the ones who've been going live
They are
talking about Popeye's chicken for the past hour, whatever.
Yeah, they do. Here,
we're asking y'all again. Bring your questions. This is what your chief wanted. I'm here. Where are you? Where are you, Supreme Chief Holiday? You've been wanting to have me here. Now I'm here, and you don't have questions? No, don't tell me bye. I'm not the one that put me on live. Your guy put me on live, Sister Bethiona. Sister Bethiona, talk to Supreme Chief who's going live on my channel right now. What's a fake white status? Your question's colored, Libra son. Ask that question again, because your question's colored right now. Moors use a fake white status? What's a fake white status? What is that? What do you mean a fake white status? I'm waiting on you, Libra son. Libra son, I'm waiting on you. You got a sneaker as your profile pic. The hell are these people? Chad Murdoch, I'm waiting for you too. What you got? I'm already done with Bethany because I can't stand looking at her black lips. Your licorice lips. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would take you down. She got like, I gotta get him off of my channel. I would get you off of my channel.
Hey, Dopey Snow. What
What
ego you talking about? What ego you talking about, Dopey Snow? The ego is your clown Supreme Chief Holiday that's calling himself a Grand Sheik when he doesn't even know what that is. And Lotus calling himself noble when he's far from noble. Calling himself Ali Bey when he's nowhere close to Ali and Bey. Dopey Snow, talk to your clowns that are streaming me live right now. Oh, we're emotional. We got a feminine trait. Oh, yeah. All right. All right. Whatever. All right.
We give them all the facts.
I don't know what you want.
Tell them.
What you want me to do? You want me to go through the library for you niggas? Let me go through the library for you niggas since you want some stuff to do. Let's go through the library. Right? Make sure you're taking notes. Right? Make sure you're taking notes. We Are All Moors by Anur Majid. Ending centuries of crusades against Muslims and other minorities. Go get that one. Right? Go get this one. Moorish Essence of Pensacola. Go ahead, Mark. If you got something, you can feel free to put it out because they're listening, so you might as well go in on them right now.
No, because you showed the Anur Majid. We are all Moors, right?
Yeah.
Because they get biased because when a Moor writes a book, once they see that Bay or L, that's the author that wrote the book, and they be like, oh, Moor wrote that book. That's Anur Majid. He's a Moor, but he's not a Bay L Ali Day Moor, but he's a Moor. That's Anur Majid, PhD.
How about him?
Brother from the East.
Right. How about this one? Othello's Children in the New World Jose Pimenta Bay, another PhD. He's a PhD. Othello's Children in the New World. Why don't you show me your black indigenous guys? Black indigenous guys? Show me your indigenous guys who wrote a book. Othello's Children in the New World. Huh? How about that one?
And it got to be chief something. It better be chief.
Oh, there's Moorish Paradigm by another Moor, Hakeem Bey. There's Moorish Paradigm. That's book 7. There's 13 books. You know, I don't know what else you guys want. You know what I mean? I'm off the chat, so I can't see your questions right now, because I had to make sure I can see these covers that I'm showing you, so I'm not showing you any off stuff, and then people complain about they can't see stuff, right? Oh, you should get this one just because you guys like talking about the treaty, so you should get the treaty book by Taj Tariq Bey. This is Treaty of Peace and Friendship book, the Constitution for the United States of North America book. You can get that one, right? There's that one. Oh, you can get the Book of Ali by Elijah Pleasant Bey. There's this one right here, Book of Ali. You get that one. There's that one. All right. We'll go through them. We'll go through them right now for you. You can get First World Order. First World Order. Ali Bey. You can get this one. Just look them up. You'll find them online. First World Order by brother Ali Bey. You can get this one. All right. Oh, the Lost Continent of Mu, Jack Churchward.
Great.
You get that one?
Because there's plenty of Europeans that tell it too.
Yeah. Speaking about Europeans, might as well put this one out there, since the European is who called us Moor or whatever. You can get The Moor, The Mason, and the Alien by Richard Smith. Go get this one. This will be a good read for you. Since you guys are bored and your Grand Sheik isn't giving you guys any references or any books or anything like that, all he does is just talk.
You got YouTube videos too for those who don't like to read.
Videos. Right? There's that. Well, you don't have to purchase. You could probably find a PDF and read it for free. You don't have to purchase. I'm not telling you go purchase, Bethany. You know what I mean? Maybe if you read, maybe you should read to your black lips and get them some light. Maybe your black lips get some light. They wouldn't be so black. Maybe you should read to your lips tonight. How about this one? Great Mystery Philadelphia by Ross Ben. There's somebody who's not a Bey, but he has a chapter in here. He has a chapter in here. He has a chapter in here dealing with the Moors. Why don't you go? The Moorish Legacy of Africa and the Americas. The Moorish Legacy of Africa and the Americas. This is Ross Ben's book. And then he has Chief Tanneman on the front. And Chief Tanneman has his statue in Philadelphia with the fez on. And then he's standing on the turtle with the Moroccan star on the back of the turtle. If you guys never saw that statue in Philadelphia, you should go check. Because everybody knows that Chief Tanneman is Aboriginal and Indigenous. Right? Oh, Joe 47, what's going on? What's going on is your Chief Supreme Holiday has no scholarship. So we're just putting out some information since he wants to stream us alive. Instead of teaching you guys something, he wants to stream us alive. And we're just letting you guys know. Oh, pigeon feathers up. Can't forget, pigeon feathers up to all the Aboriginal and Indigenous out there. Rep your pigeon feathers as hard as you want. Pigeon feathers up. Oh, you can go get this one. Deuce Muhammad Ali, because he's a scholar. He had his fez on all day. You know what I mean? P. Parker. They're not going to move on because your people are clowns. Your people are clowns. Right? Oh, original Copper Empress Holbert. Why are y'all dealing with them? Shaking your mother effing head? Keep shaking your head. You just keep shaking your head. You'll probably help yourself come to your senses. So you shake your head a little bit harder so you can come to your senses. Because the people who you guys are riding with are clowns. Oh yeah, how about this one? Richard Brent Turner, Islam in the African American Experience. Right? Okay. Oh, Sister Bethany, you're 53 and you look better than my mom? Guess what? My mom doesn't have black lips, you black lip bastard. My mom's lips aren't black like your lips. You might look better than my mom, but my mom's lips look better than your goddamn lips. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that much. If you really want to talk crazy, your black ass lips. Secrets of Ancient America. Here we go. There's another one for you. Right? There's another one for you. Oh, Moroccan is a Baphomet? Oh, Moroccan is a Baphomet, huh? Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Look up Baphomet in the dictionary.
You should probably look up Baphomet in the dictionary. If you're that. Oh, how about, let's just look right here. Let's just see. Let's just see. Let's just see.
I got it right here. You want me to read it?
Oh yeah, you might as well put it out there since they're asking questions. Who recognized? Yeah. If you have it there, sure, you can put that out. Why not? Why not? See if they want to play.
Baphomet. Baphomet. Now, Baphomet, a corruption of Muhammad.
Oh.
Or Muhammad.
Oh. Baphomet is a corruption of Muhammad. Interesting.
Or Muhammad, the Arabian prophet. And that's in the etymology brackets. That what I just read, a corruption of Muhammad, or Muhammad, the Arabian prophet. That's what Baphomet means. And then it says, an idol or symbolic figure which the Templars were accused of using in their mystery rites. That's the end of the definition for Baphomet. I didn't see any devil worship or none of that.
None of that.
Evil. None of that. None of that. It's bad. I didn't see none of that.
Oh, we're Arabs? Oh, guess what Arab comes from? Arabs come from Arabia. Guess where Arabia is? Arabia is where the Moors used to rule. So, yeah, we are Arabs. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. You know, it's all right. Cool. We know that we're Arabs. Don't worry. You know, you're not bothering us by calling us Arabs. You know? Not bad.
So, but remember, you can do your research, and it'll tell you that Arabic is really Moorish. Like it'll say it just like that. Like when you look up Arabic, the language of Arabic, it'll say Moorish.
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, it goes right back to being a Moor.
It always
it's
does.
Not Arabic, it's Moorish.
Real simple. Real simple for those who read and study. Oh, how about this one? How about this one? The Almighty Black Peastone Rangers. How about that one? So you can know that even the gangs,
You got everything, bro.
Even the gangs came from Moors. All those gangs that are doing madness right now, why are they doing madness? Because they stopped being Moors. Hey, Islam, PNF, Truth News Network, Islam to the Moor, out here. Islam to the Moor, PNF. Good work out there, PNF. Keep beating these Negroes in the head with the truth, brother. We appreciate the work that you're doing out there. Keep putting that work out. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work you're doing. Don't stop putting out the work. Don't let them intimidate you or whatever like that.
Yeah, Grand Sheik.
Yeah, more.
If I was still in my old ways and I knew what I knew, I would rob you for all your books. Your library is incredible, man. I was like, yo, he got everything.
Word.
Everything, man. Everything. I be walking in my library like, ain't nobody messing with me. And then he just showed a little bit, just a whiff, and I'm like, I don't even have any of that.
Yeah, you're talking.
I don't have none of that.
You're talking. I've been to your library, bro. I've been to your library.
I wish I had any.
You got some stuff.
Stones?
You got some stuff over there. You got some
we
stuff.
We can do
over
a
there.
lot of. I love your library, man. Your library is incredible. That Peastone Rangers, I don't got nothing on that. I don't have nothing. I didn't even know there was a book for that. I didn't even know there was a book for that. I would love to read that one.
Y'all don't got any questions over there? Because y'all just been sitting here looking at me show books. That's all y'all want?
Yeah.
Y'all just want me to show books? That's it?
And that's crazy. I be sitting at home asking questions like, you know, they be saying, how is this Morocco? Like, and I'm like, I ask myself questions like, well, you know how. And go do the research like somebody done asked me. And it's because I'm always studying, trying to be prepared.
We could show you this one. We'll put this one out there. Here's our newspaper. Here's our newspaper that we had put out. And then on the cover of the newspaper, you see we got everybody doing the Moorish pose. We got Prince on there. We got Beyonce on there. We got Lil Wayne on there. Tupac. Everybody knows that they're Moors except you dumbass indigenous people who don't want to get it.
That's the paper I had when I was handing it out in the so-called Jew, the Polish guy. He stopped. That's the one I was holding.
Yep. Of course.
Talking about, they'll never talk about this man.
Of course they don't. Because majority of them are sellouts. That's why they don't talk about this, man. Y'all done? Y'all done over there? Black Lips, where you at? Can't hear y'all. Oh, here goes Yahshua Hebrews. Actually, let's just check some of you guys' channels and see what you guys got on your damn channel. Because I know a lot of you people are no subscriber, no video ash trolls out here. Let's just see. Yahshua Hebrew, your page is first up. Let's see what you got on your page. See what you're talking about. 36 subscribers, no videos, of course. Of course, Yahshua Hebrews. No subscriber, 36 subscribers. You got Logan Paul subscribed to your stuff. Logan Paul. That's who you're watching, bro? You're watching Logan Paul? That's who you're watching. I don't know, some European. You got Wiz Khalifa up there. That's who you're subscribed to. Wiz Khalifa and Logan Paul trying to steal their subscribers because you're a loser. Can't get your own subscribers.
And this guy's studying. He's studying. Wiz Khalifa guy studying. Yeah,
Wiz Khalifa studying. Oh, I'm weak for going on the empresses. No. Bethonia is not an empress to me. Anybody with lips black like that, you're not no damn empress. Came out of some cave somewhere, talking crazy. What y'all up to? Come on, black lips. You got no questions? Or you just gonna be on there talking crazy? I'm waiting for you, black lips. Ask me something. I mean, you could talk about my mom all you want. Like, I don't give a shit. You talking crazy. Talk about my mom. Like I'm gonna get mad or something.
You know, do they have a nationality? Do they have any? I mean, we know they don't, but can we ask questions? How does this work, man? They just sitting there.
They're sitting there watching me. They're just sitting there watching me. This is what they're up to. This is what they're up to. I don't know what's going on because see, the intelligence of Cujo L is that I'm not pushing play on his thing. I'm just reading his chat. But he has me playing like a dumbass over there.
Okay.
So I don't know what he's talking. I don't know what he's talking about. He could be talking about freaking whatever. I have no idea what he's talking about. Oh, all right. Yahshua Hebrews finally said something. All right. Moor don't have no treaties. Damn, you need some. You obviously need a different language because English is not your strong suit there, brother. Moor don't have no treaties, ain't written in the Constitution, and they're in the Naturalization Act of 1870, free person as foreigners, 100% fact. That's actually not a fact, actually, because if you went and read the Naturalization Act of 1870, Black's Law Dictionary, it'll tell you it does not mean Caucasian race. It does not mean European races. So who are the free white people? If it does not mean Caucasians, then what does white mean? Yahshua Hebrews? Because the dictionary tells you that it does not mean Caucasian race. And we know that Caucasians are the pale people. So if white doesn't mean the pale people, then who does it mean? It means people who look just like you, Yahshua Hebrews. People who look just like you are actually the white people. And the longest standing treaty is the treaty between Morocco and the United States, not the United States and the Delawares, who are Moors anyways. Moor's history didn't start in 1913, dumbass. Go get Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. J.A. Rogers, Nature Knows No Color Line. Pre-1913, Moor's been around. So don't talk about Moorish history. You already know that the Moors were ruling. You already know the Moors were ruling before some 1913. Stop it, Yahshua Hebrews. Stop it.
Show me where
Stop
and
it.
like they always say to us, show me that. Show me the documentation when Moore started in 1913.
Yeah. Show me that. I want to see that somewhere. Show me where it says Moore started in 1913. We want to see that. Please show that. Please show that.
I want to see the document. I want to see that. I want to see that.
I know the Vatican. The Vatican started in 1913. I know the Vatican started in 1913. Yahshua Hebrews. Isn't that where you guys got your Torah and all that stuff? Yahshua Hebrews from the Vatican. That started in 1913. Just waiting to see if there's anything else that you guys got over there, because you guys are some. They really taught you guys well, huh? You don't even know how to ask questions. All you people are idiots.
Yahshua Hebrew.
All you guys are idiots over there? Like, really? All you guys are idiots over there. All you guys are idiots? Like, none of you guys are competent. Everybody over there is an idiot. Nobody has questions. Everybody's a follower. Everybody's a follower. None of you people have your own mind. None of you people have your own mind. Wow.
Yeah, one question, Green Sheet. Not
one question. Not one question. American Indians will reign supreme over barbarian pirates. Oh boy.
Somebody said that?
Yeah.
What did they say?
American Indians will reign supreme over barbarian pirates. Those are losers.
What? Okay. The word Indian was substituted for the word Moor in 1621. That's a documented fact. They can Google it. You can type it in just like that. The word Indian was substituted for the word Moor in 1621. You can Google it. Pop right up.
Copper Pride, have you Moors done your genealogy? And if you did it say that you or your kinfolk were of this science or religion? Did it say that y'all were from here or over there? Just asking. Well, Copper Pride, if you use your common sense and you know that all of the continents were all one landmass at one time, what do you mean over here and over there? What are you talking about? Underneath the ocean, is the land not connected still? Oh, so you're telling me that under the ocean, there's no connection. The lands are separated, right? That's what you're telling me? What do you mean over here and over there? What do you mean? What do you really mean? What do you really mean? If over there and over here are connected under the water, if over here and over there are connected under the water, what are you talking about?
Right.
We got about 5 minutes left with y'all. Oh, go ahead, Moore.
Right, because, and then the other thing about that genealogy thing, I posted the video, DNA, genetic, etc., fraud, the feds bust your ancestry.com stuff, all that genetic, genealogy stuff, like if you Google it right now and type in FBI gets genealogy records, like all that stuff gets sent to them, or like your records that you're sending, you can Google it. Or it's on YouTube too. The FBI ended up busting one of these ancestry hubs because they were selling people's information. They were selling old elderly who were forced to give their DNA. They were selling it. They were selling their samples to other people, other companies. These people, they just, and then on top of that, okay, you guys don't want to know that. Because that's major. Like, because you're taking your DNA. This is documented. You can go on Google and type in FBI getting people's DNA to be able to make busts on them. Like, they're getting it from genealogy websites. Ancestry.com website. Like they being able to bust people because of that. Because they're willingly giving up their private information. Like just giving up everything. Where they live at, their name, their DNA, all of that, giving it all up. And then on top of that, they're giving it up because they think that so they can learn that they came from some specific area. Then all you got to do is get the research, or get the book, The Myth of Continents, and you will see that all of these places that they're saying you're from are political, imaginary places. They don't even exist. Even when they get your results back, the whole world is Morocco. The whole world is Moroccan Empire. The first English voyager to circumnavigate, I forgot his name. I know he's an Englishman, to circumnavigate the planet. He had to get a license from the Sultans. Why does he have to get a license from the Sultan to circumnavigate the planet if the whole planet ain't under the Sultan's dominions?
Yep.
So that's crazy.
That's the whole world is Morocco. That's the other thing. You getting results back to tell you that you came from where? Some colonized place that has been named by some colonizer, British, the French or whatever, came there, named it, took that place, colonized it, and started renaming the places. And now you're giving up your private information to get that result back. That's an insane person.
They think they're smart.
They think they're smart. Have you, David, gotten your genealogy? Listen to them. Have you gotten your genealogy? They thought they figured it out.
That's all they do.
Did no research.
That's all they do.
None. And then, on top of that, thirdly, all that stems from eugenics. That was all set up from eugenics. You can get the book from, I forgot the author's name. It's something black. Something black. He got the book on Nazi eugenics, on how the whole thing on DNA, genealogy, ancestry was based off eugenics for people to voluntarily give up their information so the so-called powers that be, whatever, can categorize people. Now they know where everybody's at. Where everybody's doing everything. They've been doing it, like through hospital records, through when you go to school, and all this is due to eugenics to get classified into their brands. They call them census, which is Roman property. They think they didn't look it up. They thought it was something. Oh, I'm on the Indian census roll. I'm indigenous. That meant Roman property.
That meant Roman property.
Never even looked up census. Never even looked it up. That's why, and that's the other thing. That's why I'm like, how they don't got no questions?
I ain't got no questions.
That's crazy.
But we'll say this. Make sure all you 75 people on here go over to Supreme Chief Holiday's video that they're doing live right now and just give them a thumbs down. They have 47 thumbs up and 33 thumbs down right now. We want to help them break even. So let's make them break even. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to everybody out there for supporting. Don't forget, willofalah.com for all the Moorish music. Don't forget khalifamedia.com for all Grand Sheikh Kujo's books. And as well, rvbaypublications.com for the online Moorish University, where you can get your study on and learn the truth about your nationality and your birthrights. Peace and love to all the Moors. You already know how we do. Give thanks. and we'll see what they got going on the next few days. But you know, something again is probably gonna pop off, so we'll see what's good. But peace and love to all the Moors. Islam, Brother Yusuf, you got any closeouts?
Islam. Islam to all the Moors in the chat. Islam to the dirty Moors too, because we need the dirty Moors.
Oh, Islam to the dirties.
Go back and we need them. It helps me study all over again.
Islam to the
dirties. That keeps me studying. You know, keeps the balance. Islam to the and high honors to the Prophet.
High honors to the Prophet. Peace and love to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Moors, peace to all, and to all, a good night.